Hello everyone, thank you for joining me for another video on my channel Flannel Whiskers. Today we are unboxing a collection of hand-carved chess pieces, and the beautiful ASMR sounds will be soft-spoken with some newspaper crinkling and perhaps some soft tapping from my fingernails. So I've pulled out the first piece. I think this is a pawn, and it appears to be made out of a sort of rock of some kind. The rest of this collection is in a vintage JCPenney shoebox, and the collection has been tucked away for probably 30 plus years. I don't know if this set is complete, but we'll find out, and we'll take a peek at some of the old newspaper pieces that the chess pieces are wrapped in. Here's some tissue. And one of our first pieces is this white rock. It's very smooth on the back side, and it's carved on the left side and the right side and the front. I don't know what kind of rock this is, and I think there are some pieces that aren't as snowy white as this piece. This newspaper is so old, it's almost like tissue paper. And I'm just curious to take a peek at the content of the newspaper. This page seems to be associated with sports. There's a auto racing, women's golf, major baseball, softball, horse racing, paper is from September 3rd, 1976, from the Seattle PI. This page says something about betting man. This is an article about Longacres. Here's an advertisement for the grand opening Indian trading post from the Puyallup tribe. I like that they give you directions to the trading post, because of course this is from the days when we didn't all have GPS on our phones. quite a few advertisements. From the box, we have another chess piece. It's a little bit different from the first piece that we looked at, so I don't know if they're both going to be pawns or if they're somewhat different. They're fairly similar in height, so they might be pawns. I thought this was tissue paper, but it's actually ruled notebook paper. It's an interesting piece. It's kind of got a slant toward the top and the middle so that it pokes out a little bit in the middle. Here's another piece covered in newspaper. It's a very nice white piece again. Fairly short. It's kind of similar to the brown one. This is an interesting section of newspaper because the font is different from typical newspaper. And this car's date is 1976 on the plate. Some want ads, mostly for cars, it appears. And a big ad for used car sales. I don't know what this is. It's a piece of lint. Another white piece, identical to the one we just looked at. This piece is broken. It's jagged here and it's rough, which is interesting because that tells me that the exterior of these pieces were polished somehow, because this feels a lot more like a rock. That's too bad that it's broken, but explains why these pieces have been wrapped in newspaper for protection. Here's another piece, like two we've looked at, so that does confirm that these are pawns, since the rest of the pieces only come in ones or twos. One for the king and queen each, and twos for the rest of them. This one feels like it has more than one or two pieces wrapped up. pawn. Another pawn. I keep wanting to call it black because the traditional way to refer to that side of the board is black. So if I accidentally say black instead of brown, that's the explanation. Oh, look at this knight. Wow. It's carved so nicely and pretty unmistakable that it's a knight. And they even did some carving up here for I think that's called the mane of a horse. That is very lovely. It's chipped. It's got some white spots on it. Let's look at the newspaper. It's still the Seattle PI from the same date, 1976. And it still seems to be the sports section. That's not very interesting to me. This article's headline says that the Hawks named 3 captains. And it talks about the World Cup. And here's an advertisement for Sharp calculators. And here's a section called the Seahawk Report. What it says is that the Seahawk Report is a newspaper dedicated exclusive 1 year to coverage of Seattle's entry to the NFL, featuring in-depth coverage of the players, coaches, and organization behind the Seahawks, plus pre- and post-game comment. And then it gives you a mailing address. And send a check or money order in the amount of $12 for a full year subscription, 28 issues, or $20 for a special 2-year subscription, 56 issues. Can you imagine subscribing to something like that where you have to send your money order and your handwritten name and address? And here we get a section of paper that has a green background and a green headline. It says PI Sporting Green. And another mail-in order form for something. Seattle Supersonics season tickets and you complete this coupon to get a free brochure. We get a free button from the box. More tissue. There's 3 pieces wrapped in here. I don't know if this is a little bit taller than the ponds that we looked at. Yeah, it's a little bit taller. We have another pond. Holy smokes, this one is big. This one is probably the king or queen. More college ruled paper. Look how it's white where it was covered and yellowed where it was exposed. Just another pond. I can't wait to finish with the ponds and see more of the other pieces. Another pond. I think this page is going to be too hard to look at because it's very torn. Yeah, it's too torn up. This is a piece that is different from the other pieces that... Here's a piece that matches one of the pieces we've seen already. Oh, when they touch, they make a sharp sound. We have another pond. And we have 2 more buttons. Here's the second brown knight. He's a little more banged up than the first one. Here we have a white knight. It's very pretty. With the white, you don't notice the chips as distinctly. He's quite a bit skinnier than the brown one, though. But since they're hand carved, I wouldn't expect them to be perfectly symmetrical or perfectly identical. This section of the newspaper is the Chicago Options Exchange. I wonder if that's like the stock exchange. I can't think of what else it might be to be so tiny and full of numbers and sort of cryptic descriptions. Anyway, mutual funds. Here we have gold and silver stocks. Interesting, they even have a section for South African gold stocks. Furnished by Bob Cameron Shearson Hayden Stone Inc. There's a section on foreign exchange. I was curious to read the headline to this, but it's torn off. But they have a garden editor. I think this is a game piece to the game called Othello. This looks like another pawn, but it seems like we should have seen all the pawns. Chessboard goes to letter H. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. So every other square in one row and every other square in the next row should be 8 pawns. This is number 8 of what we've removed from the box. Here's a piece that's taller than the pawns, but it's cut. Doesn't look too much different from the pawns. It's just taller. And this is a piece we haven't seen on the white side, but it's similar to the brown side. But the midsection cut isn't quite as sharp. I wonder what piece this is. Here we have the business section. It says farm prices drop noticeably. The wholesale index dips. Economic analysis divides along party lines. This headline says, in potato default payments, Simplot taggers gain delay. What is a potato default payment? This reads that New York, a federal district judge, has temporarily blocked brokerage houses and the New York Mercantile Exchange from paying $980,000 to buyers of Maine potato contracts involved in a massive default last May. Judge Henry Worker of the Southern District of New York issued a temporary restraining order late Wednesday in response to separate but similar complaints filed by J.R. Simplot and Peter J. Taggers. They spelled it differently. Spelled it differently in the headline than right there. Sellers of the futures contracts and Wrinkled Commodities Inc. commodities broker. Okay, here we go. Simplot is a major Idaho potato grower, and Taggers is a Washington State potato producer. Pending a court hearing September 8th, the restraining order prevents the exchange from collecting $980,000 through several brokerage houses representing the contract sellers and distributing the funds to the buyers of 1,000 potato future contracts. And then there's a little bit more, but it cuts off. Does anybody know what a potato contract is? This is not in the gardening section, it's in the business section. Now I want to know what a potato contract is. Just seeing if there's anything else interesting. Here's the section on stock exchange. I wonder what that Chicago one was. But oh my gosh, this is the smallest print ever. And it goes on for rows and rows and rows in alphabetical order. Jeez. It's in alphabetical order by the New York Stock Exchange, the American Stock Exchange, and National Over-the-Counter. Here's something from the box that has the number 8. It's a little tiny card. It's probably another game piece that's loose. I wonder what game it goes to. Here's another white knight. And once upon a time, it was broken. And somebody tried to glue it. Well, somebody glued it back together. At least Yeah, I think, yeah, it's super cracked right there. I can feel it with my fingernail. And this one isn't a pawn because it's taller. We've seen one already. This is really cool. This is a section of what's on television. Look at this. NBC's Weekend. It's worth the wait. It has a section here of Friday movies. Randy Rides Alone, Pleasure of His Company, Death at Love House, had Robert Wagner. Culpeper Cattle Company, Werewolf of London, Matt Gould, Canadian and Bellingham Channels, Disorderly Orderly, had Jerry Lewis. Joker is Wild, Frank Sinatra. Play Dirty with Michael Caine, Nigel Davenport, and Harry Andrews. Cloning of Clifford Swimmer, Fantastic Flying Fools, Crimson Colt, and Psychomania. Oh, that Crimson Colt had Boris Karloff. I don't know any of those movies, probably because they're from 1976, but I did recognize a lot of the names. And an advertisement for Carlton Filter cigarettes. And the advertisement does include a warning that the Surgeon General has determined that cigarette smoking is dangerous to your health. This is great. It's like the TV guide for one day, and not very descriptive and no special things, but across the top it has the channels. And down this column it has the times. There's a lot of 11 o'clock news and 6 o'clock news. At 4 o'clock on Como, you can watch Merv Griffin. Trying to see if I recognize anything else. I think I've heard this TV show, JP Patches. I couldn't tell you anything about it, but it sounds familiar. The Price is Right on Cairo Channel 7 at 9 and 9:30 in the morning. Candid Camera. I'm wondering where the soap operas are. Oh, I spoke too soon. They're right here. Here's Guiding Light at 1 p.m. on Channel 7. General Hospital on Channel 4 at 2 and 2:30. And apparently there's nothing noteworthy after 2:30 in the morning. Except the movie Werewolf of London comes on at 1 o'clock in the morning. And that's all for one weekday, Friday. And 2 pieces. We've seen this piece before. Is this the 8th pawn? I thought we already looked at the 8th pawn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, I miscounted before. This is the 8th pawn. This piece is kind of dirty. It's not as, like it's white, but it looks like it's kind of dirty. Maybe it's the newsprint rubbed off on it. I don't know what piece that is. I'm checking to see if it's in my pile over there. I don't see it, so I think this is the first one we've seen of this shape. Oh, newspaper. There's a super ski event for 3 big days in the Seattle Center display wall. Bunch of ski stuff. And more sports. Motorsports. It's a tiny piece of newspaper. Brown pawn. another card with a number. The number 4. And a little card with a picture of a safety pin. And another brown pawn. We have 2 more pieces, including this one. This one is so tall, it feels like it's going to be the king or queen. That is a pretty majestic piece. I think maybe they did try to make this look like a crown, maybe. Oh, it's broken right here. Just barely, but it is chipped. This is our last piece. And it looks like that's the queen. Because it's slightly shorter than the king. And these are each one of a kind. I don't know if that sound is going to be enjoyable or bothersome once it makes it into the video. I kind of like it. Last piece of newspaper. It's just more classifieds. I thought it might be interesting if they were classifieds for job hiring, but it looks like it's classifieds to provide services. And I thought it would be interesting to find out what pricing was in 1976, but it looks like people aren't really specifying their pricing. Let's see if we can find something of with some pricing. Here's a Ballard 9-unit, 1960s solid brick, lifetime tile road. Oh, tile roof. That didn't make sense. Tile road. Lifetime tile roof on the bus line. Monthly income $1,417. Down payment of $25,000 and a full price offer of $130,000. Call Harry Fine. Here's a condominium sale on the waterfront. 600-foot prime waterfront and fantastic sound and mountain view. I think they mean the Puget Sound. Now we're yours in this elegant 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo. 2 bedrooms and 2 baths in a square 100-foot. The rooms are spacious. Yeah, I don't know about that. The rooms are spacious. The kitchen, deluxe, built-ins. The fireplace has a gas log. And there's a view of Supreme, what does it say? And a view Supreme. Separate utility room, even with swimming pool and boat launch. The price is only $44,920. A waterfront condo, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, for only $45,000. Not bad. If you liked my video, please leave a comment, hit that like button, and consider subscribing. Thank you so much.